Now I'd like to ask all of you, considering your investment company in 2021, what were you particularly pleased about? And I'm going to ask that question first to Gervais.
Yeah, so I mean, what was interesting is we had a period when there was numerous dividend cuts, obviously very plentiful dividend cuts in the UK as well as other regions around the world, and that was disappointing. What was reassuring is that many of our companies restored their dividends, and in some cases they've gone on to grow them. So the overall revenue account of in the businesses in the trust have actually now recovered pretty much to back where it was back in 2019. So although other companies around the world are still nursing dividend cuts, we're in a fund which has actually restored income, continued to grow its dividend to share per to investors over the last 2 years, as it has in previous years, but most particularly is now in a strong position with strong revenues, even after an unsettled market period.
Well, that's great news for shareholders. Paul, what were you particularly pleased about in 2021 for F&C Investment Trust?
Well, it's been a good year for shareholders so far, with strong gains in net asset value and our share price. So that, in general terms, is pleasing in performance terms. And strongest performance has generally come from our US exposure, US stocks in the listed space, where we've got around half of our portfolio. But actually, it's been our unlisted holdings in private equity space that have performed strongest year to date. And in recent years, we've made substantial commitments, and we've seen material uplifts, which led to those returns in the private space outstripping those in listed markets. And we're actually also seeing realizations on a number of our more recent commitments. And one example of that was an investment we made back in early 2018, a co-investment into a private company called Pet Network, basically a pet supply retailer based in Southern Europe, Croatia. They grew organically and through acquisition. And we sold that earlier this year for a gain of 4 times our initial investment. So it's really pleasing to see that private equity program progressing well, and also to see very good returns on our recent commitments.
Absolutely. It's been a great year for private equity investment companies and companies in the growth capital sector. And I have to say, I'm very interested to hear about your company focused on pets, because a trend of lockdown, which I have to be honest, our family has actually followed, is that we now have a kitten and a puppy as new members of the family. So I'm not surprised the pet company did very well. And Lee, I'd like to ask you, how about your company in 2021? What were you particularly pleased about?
So 2021 is the first year that we took on the management for Keystone Positive Change. There are a number of things that we are excited and we're very happy with, but we are even more happy with what the company that we have invested achieved. So thinking about the benefit of our invested company on society, that has been tremendously exciting and rewarding. Seeing how Moderna have been able to come up with a COVID vaccine in record-breaking time and no doubt help to save hundreds of thousands of people's lives, that has been really exciting. Seeing how businesses that are transforming renewable energy and electric vehicles like Tesla and making progress on all sorts of fronts that help to contribute towards a more sustainable future. That's been tremendously rewarding in 2021.